A Blink Stalker field of death right there. There's one probe coming in, just going to scout that expansion. Protoss realizing it is open at the moment. Vikings are in pursuit, going to try to pick off a Colossi or two. Nope, just kidding, going to hang back. This expansion still isn't very saturated, neither is this one or this one, but we do see the expansion. I mean, this is just no contest right here, ladies and gentlemen. That one is gone. Terran player even realizes that, so now he is moving out while the army is way down here. He is establishing a sexy siege tank line right there at the top of the cliff, going to be aiming at the Nexus, while the Protoss realizing, oh shit, what have I done? This expansion is toast. Not really a whole lot he can do about these siege tanks. Looks like they are actually moving back to going to try to defend. Protoss moving out, going to try to kill this destructible debris. Siege tank line just shifting over. Protoss realizes that he has distracted the Terran siege tanks. Half of them have been shifted over here, while the rest of the Hellions are kind of going back and forth. Vikings trying to get off some free kills. Not going to happen, though. Oh, look at that Protoss line taking a ton of damage from the siege tanks as the Marines and Hellions do move in. Psystorms landing on top of the tanks. Protoss might actually be able to pull this off. No, it looks like he's not going to have anything to follow it up with. The Colossi are gone, ladies and gentlemen. All he can do right now is just turn these High Templars into Archons and hope for the best, which is just not going to be good enough. Terran with the complete annihilation. Look at all that mech right there, man. You got the Vikings, you got the siege tanks coming over here on the ground, and there's a Psystorm in the middle of the siege tanks, and another on the Vikings. Tons of damage taken there. Looking at the units lost tab right now, 162 to 179, but still in the favor of Coco right now. Got a Ghost coming down the line, couple of them with a nuke. Uh-oh. I'd like to see that in the mineral line. I'd love to see this blanketed with like 8 nukes right now. Even 8 would be overkill, but that is okay because it's Terran and that's just how they roll. Speaking of rolling, got a couple of unsieged tanks down here at the bottom expansion, taking that out. Meanwhile, a planetary fortress is being built up here at the top central position. A couple probes actually barely escaping death as the siege tanks are unloading. Look at how close they came to dying, ladies and gentlemen. Protoss, meanwhile, warping in a ton of Stalkers and High Templar. That's pretty much all he's warping in, actually, right now. Not doing anything with the Stargates, nothing with the robotics facility. Just laying down the Psystorms, taking out those Hellions, trying to protect his mineral line. This is a point where a lot of probes are hanging out right now. So now looking at the upgrades, 3-3 in the siege tanks, 0-1 for the Vikings. Let's see if we can find some Protoss forces here. We see 3-2-0 for the land forces. Pretty crazy stuff right now. Air weapons level 1 for the air units as the siege tanks do move in here, taking out this expansion. That's pretty much going to be it for that expansion, ladies and gentlemen, as a bunch more units are warped up here at the top of the map. He may decide to make a play at this, although I don't think that would be a smart idea at this point. Observers do have vision of the map. Actually, there's a lot of vision here for the Protoss player. He sees pretty much exactly what's going on as the siege tanks do move out. Going to try to establish a position. Oh, look at that Psystorm. Kind of knocked away a little bit of health for a Viking. Not too much, though. As the Terran player, actually, look at that, man. Protoss just doesn't even care about those turrets right now. Terran looking to establish a expansion right here, wants to really solidify it. May even decide to continue pressing up here on the north. I don't know. But look at that line, man. Nothing is getting in between here and here, folks. Nothing whatsoever. Look at the Psystorms landing all over the Ghosts and Hellions, taking out a lot of the siege tanks as well. Zealots coming in here, forcing the tanks to attack their friends. Plenty of cloaked Ghosts right there as the Stalkers are trying to push away the Hellions. Look at those Hellions, man! Even with the Blue Flame upgrade, just putting a dent in the Archons, that's about it. Of course, Archons are not lightly armored, so not going to have that extra damage from the Blue Flame upgrade. Terran moving down 2 command centers down here. The Stalkers and Archon are in pursuit. Archon dangerously close to death. Will this expansion go down? Zealots are charging in. Archon taking the lead, taking a lot of those shots. Protoss is keeping his forces down here. Meanwhile, this expansion still coming under fire. The Nexus not really taking a lot in the way of damage, though. This command center might die. Oh yeah, there's no way that thing's going to live right there unless the Protoss decides to disengage, which is not going to be the case. Coco trying to bring back his other command center. Good chance that's going to live. Probes transferring away. Good idea on that. At this point, it is highly vulnerable, especially with that Hellion in the field right there. Do not want to lose those probes, man. I'll tell you what, 52 to 66. Protoss looking to move towards the middle of the map again. This expansion still has a good bit of minerals. Sorry about that. If you noticed that pause for a second there, I actually had a sneeze building up for about the last 10 minutes of the game here, and that was fun. So here we are, and going past the 35-minute mark here on GSL CREVASSE. Protoss maybe making a move here. Realizes, again, he's kind of locked down at this point. All these siege tanks here taking plenty of free shots. Line of fire extends right up to here, so a lot of dangerous ground to be walking on. Don't want to be transferring units there. So at this point, he's kind of in a weird position. He can't really reinforce so well. He is going to bring these forces up here. Very zealot-heavy army. Good idea at this point. Again, with the siege tanks, you're going to cause a ton of splash damage with those zealots. Also, the Psy Storm will be very effective here. Nice big bunch of Terran forces right here in the middle of the map. Hanging out right underneath the Observer. Zealots are charging in, taking out some of the ghosts. EMP did go down. You can see that this High Templar cannot do a darn thing except just hug together and make a giant marshmallow. Stalkers blinking in there from the flank, taking out that. And once again, Protoss does have control of the middle. Siege tanks are here. Not really going to be able to do a ton of damage, but yeah, okay, well, I guess if the Protoss is going to walk directly into the line of fire, that's going to cause a lot of damage. Nothing you can really do about that. SCV is transferring over there, and I did hear a ghost shooting for a second. Yeah, okay, that was just nothing really. But the Protoss is going to try to take down this destructible debris, giving him access to these two expansions, which at this point in the game is quite desirable. Again, Terran, heavily fortified expansion right here. Not really mining that much of it at this point in time. He does have one command center hanging out right here. Whoa, Hellions running dangerously close to the Blink Stalkers, and death for them! Protoss moving back up to the ramp here. Again, just kind of controlling the middle. Nothing too exciting at this point in the game. First come in a couple minutes. Protoss looking to expand. Looking at the income tab right now, you see it is definitely in the favor of the Protoss, who is running on several bases. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Got 4 and 5 on the way. 72 to 50, or 70 to 52 for the Harvesters. Again, the Gateway unit's not really able to handle the siege tanks, which are nicely staggered right here. Got 4 in position. Also got one ghost here cloaked. We'll see what's going to happen over here. Again, just Protoss is kind of hanging out, not really doing a lot. At this point in the game, it is just a mining/unit fest. I mean, you've got to get control of these minerals here. SCVs are definitely transferring over. Terran wants to secure this expansion, secure this portion of the map here. This one, relatively weak. I mean, there's not a lot there. A couple siege tanks there to just defend. That's about it. No more Hellion harassment. Although, speaking of Hellions, we do have a bunch of them coming in here. Uh-oh, where are they going to be going, checking this expansion, see if there's anything over there. He might actually go, uh-oh, look at how vulnerable this is. Probes aren't moving at all. Going to be taking a ton of damage, ladies and gentlemen. This could be a wipeout for this income. Instead, he's actually pulling him back here while these other Hellions, almost called them vultures for a second there, try to engage this expansion. Not going to happen, though. Photon cannon is going down, so probably not going to see any more harassment on that one. A few Hellions are moving into this expansion. Pretty decent amount of probes here. They're going to be going right into the mineral line, getting lots of free shots. Shields are down for a lot of them, as they do continue to cut around the Zealots. See, the Zealots are actually doing a pretty good job taking those out because they're not moving, but they do eventually die, losing only one Hellion in the process. So, yep, goodbye, Hellions. Good night, and that's all right. Well, if you want to Psy Storm that, hey, go for it. Almost lost that High Templar there, actually. So the Terran player relying again. He's keeping up with the mech forces. He's got the Hellions, the siege tanks, the ground Vikings. Protoss right now. We can actually just look at the army size: 167 to 187. Units right now: 29 Stalkers. Look at this giant ball right here, and a nuke just kind of hanging out here, as well as a ghost. Terran looking to kind of inch up here, keeping the majority of his siege tanks here with the command centers that he's building. Protoss, meanwhile, down here at this expansion, 4 cannons, pretty well guarded. You see right here, he's definitely secured his next, I guess, generation of income. As he's moving a bunch of probes down here as well. Again, keeping them kind of spread out at the different expansions. Don't want to suffer too much. There are the siege tanks, just getting a couple free shots. Stalkers on the hold position. And they're going to be going down. That's not too surprising there at all. But look at this giant engagement from the Protoss player moving over here, trying to take out a lot of these forces, taking out the command center. This isn't exactly a high priority target right now because of the fact that the resources are all mined out, but it does give direct access. Look at those storms on top of all the siege tanks, and the Hellions completely obliterated their siege tanks as well. And even a nuke being launched. Just kidding. No nukes today, not in my backyard today on Crevasse, as the Protoss does decide to withdraw. Bunch of Zealots on the way, a couple more High Templar, a few Stalkers, as the Terran looks to try to engage here with, Psystorm landing on top of the siege tanks and the Hellions, completely taking that out. So that attack is going to be over as we do move past, let's see here, who's going to win that one? Let me think. 43-minute mark, yeah, sure enough, there's the cutting, and there's the death. Hellions trying to cut away from the Zealot. A little bit of long-distance mining there. A few Hellions getting ready to come down here to the southern portion of the map, going to the mineral line. Getting plenty of kills here. Tons of Stalkers warping in. Gonna be it for you. Getting out there at the last second. More Hellion, or more probe kills right there. Look at that, folks. Good stuff there. Got about 12 kills so far on these Hellions. And they're not going to be able to do a lot here. No probes. No shirt, no shoes, no probes, no service. As the Stalkers do look to move back towards their existing expansions, which are still a little bit under pressure. He is moving to the middle of the map here with a very large quantity of Blink Stalkers. He's even got 4 Dark Templar warping in right now, coming over directly to the Hellions. Got to be sure to avoid the splash damage there. Taking out Zout. Oh, baby! We got the scan coming down as the siege tanks finish off the Dark Templar. So right now, we've got the Stalker Ball just kind of moving out around here in the southern portion of the map, guarding his expansion. Terran, again, not being super aggressive with the siege tanks, moving him in, finally in a position. Protoss looking to make a move directly at the Terran base. Going to try to cut the production, possibly making a move at the mineral line here, although I don't know how well that would turn out because of the siege tank line right here. He is definitely going to be making a move here. Meanwhile, the siege tanks are taking out the Nexus. Going to be cutting the income a good bit. Speaking of income, currently Protoss sitting at about 2,300 compared to Terran's 1,000, 92 to 52. There goes the structures for the Terran player. Blink Stalkers right there moving into effect, trying to catch those siege tanks off guard while they are in unsiege mode. Or not in siege mode, rather. Protoss blinking up here to the main base. Will he be able to hold the ground and take out these factories? I think he will be able to take out at least one of them there. And blinking back, going to try to take out another. Meanwhile, the siege tanks are moving down here to this expansion. Going to try to take out the income. Terran's got his siege tanks nice fortified at the base of the ramp. Getting plenty of free shots at these Stalkers. Just moving right into the line of fire. Again, a factory taken out, really hurting the Terran production. You see, he's actually got these tanks unsieged up here because of the Zealots, taking those out, and now he's going to be working on the probes. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are still up here focusing down the factory. Will it go down? I think it will. Oh, man, it's so very close. 83, 67, 35, 5, and dead. Those Stalkers have definitely earned their keep here in the Terran base, as I don't think he actually has any factories left. I don't think he really went balls out compared to his opponent with the production. Oh, he's got that one right here. He's going to need way more than that in order to combat the Protoss player. Right now, still sitting on 16 warp gates. See, you just got a bunch of cannons down here. There's so many buildings all over the map here. Got to kind of keep track and see what's being built where. Got another Nexus coming down right here. As this planetary fortress, actually nice positioning on that. Able to hit units coming down the ramp and also block off access to this point. Going to be repairing that with some SCVs while the Protoss does guard this expansion. Looking at the army size now, we see it's 138 to 152 in favor of the Protoss. 90 to 52 for the Harvesters. Let's look at the units lost tab. Look at that, 308 to 481. Resources, Cocoa sitting on almost 5,000 minerals. Whew, oh crap. Spending, economy, Red, 22,000 compared to Coco's 10,000. That is just insane right now. APM 150 to 102. See, it's kind of spiking up a little bit more, probably a little bit low from the start of the game. First couple minutes, I did watch the APM when I was just kind of previewing the game, and I noticed the Protoss player really doesn't spam a whole lot at the very beginning. So that just explains why that's kind of low there. Now the Nexus coming down, and we do have ground armor level 3 coming for the Protoss player. Not getting any shield upgrades at all. Do have some factories reestablished here, so that's going to help out a good bit. But right now, you can see the Terran income is definitely suffering. Protoss has complete map control right now. He controls all of the resources, except for the ones that Terran has held onto for a little while here. So once those drop down, he is just simply not going to be able to support the buildings that he has right now. 3 siege tanks, trying to build what he can. And it's funny, he actually has all these tanks queued up here, and nothing queued up on the others. There we go. So let's see what Terran's going to do. He does have control of the middle top left ledge. Throwing down a couple barracks as well here. Some Marauders would definitely be good in dealing with the Stalkers. Going to have to worry about those Archons and the Zealots with the siege tanks. Marines, very high damage unit. You can see he only has 1 armor and 2 infantry upgrade. Up until now, most of his upgrades have been focused on the mechanized side of things. There goes 1 DT taking out a siege tank. DT for a siege tank, trade-off right there. All right, well, that's close enough. We'll take it. Another Ghost coming down the line here. EMP will be instrumental in wearing down this force. I mean, like I said, you got the Archons right here. You got the Zealots, only got 50 shields. Another DT coming up here. He sees the drop. Oh, and death. Once again. Lots of death on here today on Crevasse. Oh, man. Here comes the Marine drop. Going to be going at the Nexus right here in the 3 o'clock central position. Another drop coming down here at this expansion. Protoss not responding just yet. He is sitting 1 DT. So you're going to see those Marines die pretty darn quick. Drop coming at the expansion, taking out a good number of the probes there, although, there's not a lot going on right there. This Nexus might actually go down. The thing is, there's not a lot of minerals left here. Most of the income for the Protoss player is coming from this spot, which, oh my god. Look at those gateways, folks. He is really looking to make a strong final push here. 2,500 minerals, looking at the resources, 6,700 compared to 4,000. These guys are just sitting on tons of money. They're both maxed out. There's really nothing they can do except make more production facilities. And there goes that unit. Observer right there going down. As we see right now, getting close to the 1 hour game time mark. Looking at the units lost now, 498 to 315. We'll have to see what happens here. Terran has a nice fortified position. He's even got the nice placement of the barracks here. It's going to funnel units in should the Protoss decide to attack from the backside. Probably not going to happen, though. It would be pretty darn difficult for the Protoss to get back here and through all this without the Terran realizing it. So the Terran actually throwing down some depots. Again, this is good placement. It's going to reveal the Shroud. It's going to create choke points. It's just several uses there. Very helpful. As we do hear a nuke coming down on top of the forces right here. Where's the Ghost hidden right off to the side, and it's going to be dead. Observer floating around someone there. Protoss looking to make a move. Moving to the top of the ramp. Going to be heading in the center. Uh-oh, a couple Zealots charging in first. Look at that splash damage from the siege tanks. Taking out, oh man, doing almost as much damage to the Marines as the Zealots were doing themselves. As Protoss moves in, trying to engage this line. Not quite enough forces to take it out, but another nuke is on the way. Terran really pushing the forces back down here. Look at the units coming in here right now, man. He has just replenished his army. Back up to 167 there. Siege tanks moving into position. This time, Protoss have a lot of high Templar landing on the Marine. Sidestorms everywhere. Look at that line. Completely annihilated. And I think that's, oh man. Nothing else coming from Protoss right now. Terran might actually be able to push that down. If he can get down here and just reinforce it and take out these expansions, then at least the minerals, then he'll be in a good position here. But right now, he's actually sending his siege tanks directly into the line of fire for the cannons on the move command. Probably think he can come down here and siege up a little bit closer, but not going to happen. He's bringing his SCVs in here. I think this could be it, folks. This is pretty much going to be all she wrote right now. He has no additional income looking at it right now. 100 compared to 1,700. Nice little ball of units forming right here. Uh-oh, got a bunch of Immortals here to break the siege line. As the Terran player does look to take out the supply count for the Protoss just a little bit. Not going to matter, though. You look at all the red on the map. He has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bases at one point total, although not at the same time. There goes the Destructible Rocks. Protoss actually moving up through the backside, where the Terran is pretty darn vulnerable. Forcing these Marines back over here. Let's see if Protoss is going to follow up with it. Couple siege tanks are in position, but not nearly as many as on this side. Terran reacting, but not going to be quick enough. Protoss moving up the top ramp here. Once again, Psystorm landing on top of the forces. Marines cutting out of it. Oh man, I don't think this is going to work out well for the Terran player. He just does not have the consistent firepower or the ability to replenish his army like the Protoss does. Look at that solid push from the Protoss, finishing off the top of the ramp, and that's going to be it. I think that's not a GG. What is that? Okay, that is, I think that's a GG right there. I recognize the symbols. So, Coco forced out of the map here today on GSL Crevasse. So, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Like I said, it was a little bit of a unorthodox game here. You know, again, the mineral placement, it kind of sets the pace for the game. The spawning positions, the size of the map, a lot of different factors come into it. And like I said, this is going to be one of the things that really breathes new life into Starcraft 2 throughout the coming years. So definitely looking forward to some excitement here as, wow, that's like the Starcraft introduction movie except in reverse. All the parts coming apart there. So, Zealot punch!